Hey, thank you for allowing this reflection because it allows me to clarify and deepen the conversation. So, what I wasn't saying in that video about extending beyond our own identity for humanitarian efforts was not discussing the difference between the left and right. There's a clear, when we talk about political ideology or any version, social ideology in America, there has never been a more clear distinction between left and right, Democrats or socialists in that area, and Republicans. It is very clear. So I wasn't discussing that. What I was talking about, and also what you're bringing up, in no way was I saying that the people creating the inhumane situations, the crises, the predators, the perpetrators, whatever that may look like internationally or individually, in no way am I saying we need to be negotiating with them. In fact, I'm pretty hard on the only negotiation is accountability in order to not just hold them accountable for what they have done, but also reinforce accountability to stop the perpetuation of it, because clearly accountability of what has been done isn't working if everything has been increasing in a violent trajectory. So what I was speaking about, though, was we must look above our own identity if we believe that holding them accountable means that the people we're helping are just collateral damage. So in the videos that I'm doing about especially international affairs, there is a lot of people, whether they're liberals or leftists or feminists and stuff in the commentary, saying that the regimes need to be overthrown because of what they're doing to the people. And they're absolutely correct. But they're also saying, and they're celebrating the overthrowing at the innocent people being collateral damage for that. And what I am saying is you can't be that way. You have to be about accountability toward the regime, but also hold our administration accountable for how they could do that in a more civilized way. Because if we are the most sophisticated military in the world, we have more sophisticated ways in order to hold accountability of the regimes and also overthrow them. The cruelty to the innocent people, people will say, well, this is what war is. No, that isn't. There is way more sophisticated ways to change over positions of power. They do it all the time and you don't know about it, than bombing elementary schools and all the things that you're doing. The purpose of what you're seeing right now is cruelty, exploitation in order to collapse that society even further. It is not for democracy. It is not for humanitarian efforts. So what I was speaking about is we must stay aligned to either the ideology or the humanitarian efforts by also saying both can exist. Propaganda can exist, so can genuine threat. Overthrowing the regimes needs to happen while also providing security and safety to the citizens, because if overthrowing a regime means that we also compromise even more safety to the citizens, that is not progression. That is creating a bigger erosion than they were before we arrived. So basically what I was advocating for globally, and even these geopolitical conversations and religious conversations, is trauma-informed care, which means holding the predators accountable while also never compromising the line to where we reinsure that there are systems of security and reform for all the innocent citizens. And I'm always advocating for closing proximity to the people that we believe that we are actually helping, so you can understand what is happening without the American propaganda. Because Americans are known for projecting what we believe is freedom, projecting what we believe is equity, projecting what we believe is reform, without actually having cultural context into what they believe and what they desire. And I just have a different experience globally of understanding how America has always played both sides of the fence, where America funded a war where they were pro my family's country against a Muslim country until it was convenient that they flipped the script, and then they went against our country and pro the Muslim country, and then cloaked it as humanitarian efforts and democracy, when the reality was they took a bunch of different countries that were a world power, completely demolished that, took the resources, collapsed the economy, and built bases there so that way they could have bases closer to bombing the Middle East so they could take their resources. And the American propaganda still exists about those regions and hasn't been clarified. And believe it or not, people within those countries were reaching across to the neighbors that they were supposedly in war with, and not understanding the escalation of an international level until they realized that it was just to collapse all of them. So what I mean by that is you are able to see beyond your own identity, nationality, ideology, religion, in order to become a humanitarian for the innocent people people that deserve that. And then make sure you hold people accountable internally in our own country in an advocacy for externally the other regimes that are at the expense of their citizens. Both need to exist. Trauma-informed care, accountability for the people that collapse humanity, and creating resources and stability to the people that have always deserved it. And perhaps a subjective example can help understand further what I mean. My family comes from Serbia and Macedonia. My mother's best friend that we grew up with, one was Bosnian Muslim, one was Croatian. My babysitter, because the Serbian Orthodox Church wouldn't extend resources for my mother that was a widow in this country, our own church wouldn't help us. So then my babysitter became a Turkish Muslim man. And then my best friend that helped me during a very difficult time in adolescence was an Albanian. So all of those are all examples of we are supposed to all hate each other. But in the reality, I would listen to the adults of other countries where there were atrocities, humanitarian crises, all of this that was perpetuated by all these people in power, killing innocent other people in the name of God or in the name of land or in the name of whatever. And I would listen to these adults from these fighting war countries at one table breaking bread, and they would all say, America. And they weren't saying America, the potential, the reason why they came here, the freedom, the ability to thrive in a place that's out of survival. They were saying the business of America. And unfortunately, that's the bittersweet awareness of who's always at war in our country. It's not America, the humanitarian, or America, the democracy. It's America, the business. And as you can tell by how the divide of American citizens keeps growing, where more than 52% of this country cannot afford their monthly bills right now, but the top elite keep going to such excess that when is enough enough? So I guess some food for thought that when you are doing these efforts, separate the people that want the power and the war from the rest of the people that don't want any of it. The bad guys are always the one in charge, and they're not advocating for the rest of us, as we can see as with the innocent lives of the American soldiers that have already died. The ones we know about and the ones we don't know about, with the children that cry themselves to sleep because their mother and father are permanently gone, as these gluttonous leaders fill their mouths and their pockets to a never-ending abyss. So full circle moment, there's no negotiating with the predators, but there absolutely needs to be a middle between the dichotomy, the binary way that we are viewing with most of the innocent population in all of the countries. And then if you're going to work on dismantling anything besides the political regimes, work on dismantling the religions that are the underbelly of perpetuating these systems of trauma for thousands of years. But I don't know if you guys are ready for that conversation. Bye.